What's good, y'all? Let me introduce myself. My name is Brandon, and welcome to the very first episode of the Commissioner's Corner, the place where we're going to mix analytics, Vegas props, and a little bit of gut intuition to help you dominate the schmucks in your leagues. Today, we're going to be talking about my favorite targets through the first 7 rounds. These are going to be the cornerstones that I like to build around. Keep in mind, though, that we're going to be talking from the 3-4 spot. It's not going to have Jamar, it's not going to have Bijan, but the rest of the targets end up being pretty much the same for where you are in the front of the draft. So with that, enough yapping, let's get into it. In the first round, I'm grabbing CeeDee Lamb over Jay Jetta, Saquon, and Gibbs. Now, as I said earlier, if Bijan or Jamar are there, I'm taking them in a heartbeat. But outside of those guys, I want a wide receiver to anchor my first round, and Lamb is my guide because rounds 2 and 3 are loaded with running backs to pair with in a hero wide receiver strategy, which is what I like to go for this season. So why Lamb over Jefferson? His ADP is lower than Jefferson, sitting at 7, but the situation is much better for him going into the season. The Cowboys are going to be going into the season fully healthy, and that defense is not good at all. Micah Parsons is still dragging his contract situation out, and they're going to have to win in shootouts. That means a whole lot of potential value for CeeDee in comparison to Jefferson, who has a question mark at QB with McCarthy and a running game that's primed for a bigger role to take some of the stress off the rookie quarterback. Lamb's advanced metrics are right there with any of the big dogs around him. Same first down rate per route run as Chase and Jefferson, and he has over a 30% first read target share. That's elite territory. He's finished as a wide receiver 5, 1, and 8 in the past 3 seasons, and that wide receiver 8 last year was with Dak missing 8 games. I'm not sweating Pickens being around either. Dak has always spread the ball around, but Lamb has a role that's been stable. A 30% target share feels pretty safe for Lamb and is enough to deliver another wide receiver 1 season. When my pick comes up in the late second, I am running to the board to take Bucky Irving. His sleeper ADP is currently sitting at 22, but I've got him ranked as my RB8, and with the A-chain injury, he might even bump up to my RB7. That would put him squarely in the early second round territory for me personally. Here's what makes him so appealing. He didn't see over 50% of the snap share until after Tampa Bay's Week 11 bye, and he still finishes the RB13 in full PPR. And all offseason, all we've heard was buzz about an expanded role. The metrics back up that notion that we'll see a bigger role too. 41% of his carries went for 5+ yards. That's the 7th best rate in the league. He handled half the rushes inside the 5, and that usage grew late into the last season. He had a utilization percentage, a metric that measures the percentage of snaps played that a player either touched the ball or was targeted, of 50%, a mark that only 8 other RBs hit. Now combine that efficiency with expanded role and a high-powered offense with a top 5 O-line. Keep in mind Tristan Wirfs came off the pup just a few days ago, and Bucky looks like a guy who can swing a roster into contender pretty easily. If he's there in the late second, trust me, I'm grabbing him every single time. Coming around the 2-3 turn, Chase Brown is by far my favorite target. His ADP on Sleeper is 27, but I got him ranked as my RB10, which put him in the late second round, and I took an average of 7 different Vegas sportsbook, which do back up that sentiment as well. Why? Because he's the clear workhorse in a high-powered Bengals offense. From week 9 on, he was on the field for over 80% of snaps and averaged 17.37 points per game. That is top 5 fantasy production. Sure, his advanced metrics weren't great, but that's mostly because he had limited touches early in the season and ran behind a below-average offensive line. He did take 52% of the rush attempts inside the 5 and saw a high target volume as a starter, one week even seeing 11 targets, which set him up for serious PPR upside and helped mitigate the issues with that O-line. Chase Brown is being underrated when he is going to get workhorse treatment on a high-powered offense. Now let's talk about why Davante Adams is the perfect late 4th round target in fantasy this year. Look, his ADP on Sleeper is 43, and yes, in sharper leagues, he should be gone by this point. But I've got him ranked as my RB13 now that Stafford is expected to be healthy from day 1, and he would be the guy I'm going for if he's still available. Here's the thing. Adams has been an absolute dog over the last 5 seasons. He's been wide receiver 11, 10, 3, 2, and 1. That's consistency right there. For those who worried about Puka, Stafford has shown he can lift 2 elite wide receivers at once. Remember Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods? Yeah. The best duo that Stafford has ever had is this one, and I have zero worry that he's going to be able to utilize both of them this season. My average of Vegas player props seems to agree with my take, as he's projected as the 14th highest scoring wide receiver as well. Last year, he saw an insane first read target rate of 35.1%, and he had a 27% overall target share. That would be the 4th highest mark in the league. If Adams slips to the late 4th, don't overthink it. Just grab him. And if he is gone, I would typically go with my 5th round target in the 4th round, if I'm being honest, even though it might be considered a little bit of a reach. That 5th round pick being Courtland Sutton. His ADP on Sleeper is currently 52 right now, which is pretty squarely in the early 5th round, but you tend to see guys jumping for QBs and tight ends in this range a little bit. I will say again, if Adams is gone by your fourth, Sutton is my guy I target for that range as well, even though that might be a little bit of a reach. He's my wide receiver 15 for the season. Last year, well, he was the wide receiver 15 on a team that didn't add anyone significant who will steal his target share in a high-powered offense. He had the 14th highest first down per route run rate in the league, and his 17 points per 100 possessions, well, that only trailed the 2 tiers of wide receiver I have above him. He had a 30.9% first read target share, which is a percentage that only the clear-cut big dogs in passing offenses hit. And you can't forget, going into the draft, that the final preseason game, it looked like Bo Nix had blinders on for this man, and he only passed it to Sutton. Courtland Sutton is going to be a reliable, efficient, high-volume wide receiver in an offense that will put up points. He's an easy 4th, 5th round target for me. So this may feel like a little bit of a cop-out, I'm going to be honest. But I love all 3 of these guys in the late 6th round, and I don't expect all of them to be available, them being Calvin Ridley, Bo Nix, and Tony Pollard. Bo Nix is my QB6 for the season. He had a 61% utilization percentage last year, which was the highest rate in the league, and he's still on a great offense with the best O-line. With his rushing upside and solid receivers around him, he has the upside to crack what many believe to be a clear-cut top 5. Calvin Ridley is a guy many experts are very high on as well, and it seems to make sense. He is the consensus wide receiver 26, but I have him as wide receiver 16. He is coming off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and he did it with bums like Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. Now he has Cam Ward, an overconfident gunslinger, which fits Ridley's style perfectly. Ridley was 6th in the league in downfield receptions at 20-plus yards last year. Now, last of this group is Tony Pollard. He lucked into a bell cow role, again, with Tajay Spears on IR, and the average of my Vegas props is RB21, which is right for this range. I bumped him to my wide receiver 19 because the upside early in the season. Having a new QB, that might lead to more potential red zone possibilities, and there is a lack of target share. He's worth a pick around this range, even if I might prefer him a little bit less than the other 2 I talked about before him. Really can't go wrong with any of these 3 late in the 6th round, though. The last player I'm going to be talking about in this video is Emeka Egbuka. Now, I'll admit this feels like a reach compared to his ADP, but the upside is that he could be a boom-type player if things fall right during your fantasy playoffs. His ADP is sitting at 96 right now, but I have him as my wide receiver 35, which would put him in the middle of 7th round. I know maybe I'm reaching a little bit. I am biased. I play with a lot of Tampa Bay fans, and I know he won't make it past the early 8th in my leagues. I'll admit that. But he has league-winning upside if things go right. This guy was a first-round talent that broke the reception record at Ohio State, and the camp buzz has been nonstop. That drum beat has been getting louder and louder and louder as we've gone through this offseason. Mike Evans will start alongside him, so he will not be the wide receiver 1 for the Bucs, but there's so much value on the table for Emeka. Both Jalen McMillan and Chris Godwin are set to miss a good chunk of the season, which leaves a lot of vacated targets that Emeka could soak up. He is definitely a risk, no doubt about it. I get it. I agree. He could end up the wide receiver 3 when Godwin comes back. But on the flip side, there's a real chance he's the wide receiver 1 on this offense, and with Baker at quarterback, they will throw a lot. That is wide receiver type of upside paired with what I consider a pretty solid floor. He's a guy I'm targeting in the 7th to early 8th in every league. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap it up on my favorite picks for the early part of drafts. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, subscribe. It really helps me starting out and lets me know that people might actually enjoy the content I'm trying to make here. If you have any video suggestions, I will be in the comments. I will try to respond. I will read everything if there is anything, because I'm not expecting anyone to watch this. But either way, thank y'all for watching. Hope to catch you next time. Peace.